Hey everyone, it's Bree, and today I'm going to talk to you about teenagers and menstrual cup and offer you some advice if you are a teenager using a menstrual cup. So I've basically just written a list down here of all the questions I've kind of come across from various teenagers asking these things about menstrual cups. So the first one is, can I use one if I'm a virgin? Yes, you can use one if you're a virgin. You shouldn't have any problems, although the hymen, which is the little bit of skin that covers the entrance to your vagina, which is the bit of skin that gets broken the first time you have sex, does sometimes need to stretch quite a bit, and so it can provide a little bit of pain. But it shouldn't do after you've used it more than once. The second one is, does it break my hymen? Now, this is a kind of a difficult term to really use, I think. The word break, it doesn't ever really, break as it were. It does stretch quite a lot, and it's more likely to stretch than break if you use a menstrual cup. However, a menstrual cup can break your hymen. So if for religious purposes or for cultural reasons you need your hymen intact for marriage, then it's not recommended to use a menstrual cup, because it will almost certainly break or significantly stretch your hymen. The next one is, does that mean I'm not a virgin? The technical term for a virgin is someone who has not had sexual intercourse. So if you haven't had sex and you've used a menstrual cup, it doesn't matter whether your hymen is intact or not, you are still a virgin. So you don't have to worry about that. Does it hurt? I kind of mentioned this earlier. For me personally, it didn't hurt when I used the right menstrual cup. If you use a menstrual cup that's rim is too big for you, or is too big for you, or too small for you, or is too soft or too hard for you, then yes, it can hurt quite a bit. If you'd like some advice on which cup you think would be best for you, if you just want to send me a message, I can easily answer that for you. I have helped someone else choose their next cup. Lubrication options. Another way you can help to make it a little bit easier to insert a menstrual cup is to use lubrication. Now, I would recommend using a water-based lubrication. This is a Yes sachet. I haven't actually used this one, but it is best to use a hypoallergenic natural water-based lubricant as opposed to an oil-based lubricant. They're recommended, they're better, they're not as messy, they don't get on your fingers as much. So Yes is a company that does that. I don't know any others, but I've heard that one's really good. Second one is, can I use it if I haven't used a tampon? I know girls who haven't used tampons who can use menstrual cups. It's absolutely fine. It's just a little bit different to get used to. So I think it would help if you used a tampon before, but it's certainly not necessary to have used one in order to insert a menstrual cup. Am I old enough? I know 11-year-olds who use these cups, so it's really not a case of how old you are, it's a case of, are you mature enough to use one? Because some people are kind of really silly about it, like, oh, that's gross, it's disgusting. You're clearly not mature enough to use if you are thinking that sort of thing. You've got to be able to accept that you need to, and be comfortable with your body, because you do have to touch yourself kind of to do it, which is a question actually, do I have to be involved when I sort of touch the areas on there? You will, because in order to check a menstrual cup is open, this is one of my menstrual cups. This is my Melina cup. You do only need one menstrual cup, by the way, but I test them for this YouTube channel. So this is my Melina cup, which I've washed and everything. So you do have to check it's open, and to do that you have to insert your finger up and run it around the rim, which is called stirring in the menstrual cup kind of club, as it were, to see it. So that obviously doesn't involve you to insert your finger into your vagina. So you have got to be comfortable with yourself to do that. Some girls obviously aren't mature enough to use these things. It's just a case of where you are. I always recommend that you use a panty liner. You can use either a reusable one like this is just one of the ones I sell on my Etsy store, like this, or you can use a disposable pad. But either way, use a panty liner, because often it takes a little while to get it to open correctly and get used to using a menstrual cup. So another thing is, what about school? This can be difficult. For me personally, when I went to school, before I got kind of ME and stuff and was too tired to go and things, I didn't have a problem, because I could just insert my cup, even on my heaviest day, put it in the morning and not have to worry about it until I got home from school. Some people do like to take them out of school, and this is where the problems come in, because obviously you've got to take it out, empty it, clean it and stuff. You can just clean it with toilet paper, and then when you get home, wash it out thoroughly with like soap and water. You should be able to be fine with that, but some people need lubrication, and this is the problem, because obviously carrying around a little sachet of something that says lubrication on it, it's gonna, if your friends like mine always like dig through my bag for stuff, and that can be a little bit of an issue. So I have found that actually you can use Vaseline. This is a really good lubrication. Obviously, if someone comes across that in your bag, they're just going to think, oh, it's just lip salve, that's all it is. I don't know if you have this in the US, but if you don't, it's basically just a pure petroleum jelly. That's all this is. And make sure you get the original one. Don't get the aloe vera one or the one with berry scents or anything. Just the natural original. And this is absolutely fine. It won't cause you any discomfort. You know, it's just, as it says, just petroleum jelly. It's got nothing else in it. So you can use this little tub, which I find is the best because you can get a little bit more out of it. And all you do is, I've got my other cup here. You just smear it around the rim. This is my Mammy cup. So I use the punch down fold. So that's that. And then you just basically smear it on this rim here. And I like to go along this bit here as well, which inserts into the top of my vagina. Just helps to make it a little bit easier and it pops open and stuff. It is a little bit sticky. It is kind of hard to get off your hands afterwards, but you know, you can't really see it. And you just wash them. It will come off with soap and water. So that's my little tip if you're at school and you need some lubrication. Try Vaseline, but always try it at home before you try and take it to school and stuff. So that is pretty much all my questions people have kind of asked, I guess. If you have any other questions about using a menstrual cup, if you're a teenager, you know, just send me a message. You know, you can either comment down below or send me a message personally. I'm more than happy to answer any questions. I've used a menstrual cup for a while now. I think it's brilliant because, you know, obviously tampons carry the risk of TSS syndrome, and I'm not really cool with having cancerous chemicals inside my body. So, yeah. I know that there are girls who aren't cool with that, but don't really think they're mature enough to try a menstrual cup. There is an option. I think there's Organic Essentials in the US, and we have Naturcare over here, and that's also available in the US, where they make 100% cotton tampons, and they are a better alternative to it. They don't eliminate the risk of TSS, but they do reduce the chances of it. So you can try those if you don't think you're mature enough to try this stuff. Yeah, I don't think it's gross or anything. Please no gross kind of comments down below because, you know, if you're not mature enough, just kind of move on to something else. You know. So, okay, so thank you for watching. Please subscribe, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.